This is the time I fought my mom because her boyfriend was touching me in my sleep and she defended him. I was 16 when this happened. I'm 20 years old now. He was touching me, she knew about it, and she didn't do anything. Yes, they're still together till this day. And no, I do not talk to either of them. Let's get into it. So my mom had just recently divorced my dad, and so she got a new boyfriend. His name was 𝙎𝙤𝙧𝙚. Now let me tell you, I was not rocking with 𝙎𝙪𝙗 from jump because he was always a little too touchy. If I sat down next to him, he'd squeeze my knee, would sneak up behind me and rub my shoulder. And when he would hug me, his hands would go a little too far down my back. Whenever he would come over, I'd just stay in my room. But one night, it was like damn near midnight. Mind you, I'm asleep because I don't play by my sleep. I wake up suddenly because I had a feeling somebody was in my room. So I turn on my lamp that's on the side of my bed. When I turn around, I see 𝙎𝙧𝙗 in my room with his back turned towards me, trying to sneak out of my room. But not only was he trying to sneak out of my room, he had my panties in his hands. So I look under my covers, and sure enough, my panties are gone. Part 2 gets even worse. This is part 2 of when I fought my mom because her boyfriend was touching me in my sleep and she defended him. So I suddenly woke up in the middle of the night to see him trying to sneak out of my room with my panties in his hands. Instant tears started flooding my eyes because I knew what he had done. And I knew that if I told anyone, no one would believe me. Because like I said, I didn't like him from jump because he was always too touchy. And I told my mom how I felt that way, and she told me that I need to start wearing less revealing clothes. But back to what I was saying. Like that motherfucking low life ass piece of shit notices that I woke up, he runs out of the room, and then I hear him leave through the front door. So I quickly get dressed so I could go tell my mom what happened because I didn't know what else to do. I wake her up and go, "Ma, 𝙎𝙧𝙗𝙧 just touched me in my sleep." She says, "Girl, stop making up these little fantasies in your head and go back to sleep." So I told her, no, I woke up in the middle of him trying to leave my room with my panties in his hands, and once he noticed that I saw him, he left through the front door. Then she gets mad at me and starts yelling at me and says, and I quote, "I don't need you running men out my house." That's crazy because my dad was her 5th husband. 𝙎𝙧𝙗𝙧 was about to be her 6th. If anybody was running men out this house, it was her. I'm tired of her BS at this point. She's yelling all up in my face, and so I shove her. This is where it gets crazy. Part 3 of the time I fought my mom because her boyfriend touched me in my sleep and she defended him. So I woke up my mom to tell her that her boyfriend had just touched me in my sleep. And she gets mad at me and starts yelling and screaming at me. With the amount of shit that she put me through, she had no right. So I'm sick of her BS at this point, and so I shove her. I had never put my hands on my mama before this. My mama deserved to get her ass whooped. How toxic she was. If she wasn't my mama, if she was just some other regular bitch, I probably would have already threw hands with her like 10 times. So now we're on the floor of her bedroom, scrapping it out. And no, I did not show her no mercy. Obviously, I went and whooped her ass because 16 years of being mistreated. Come on, at this point, I had a heart of steel and hands of steel. So she's screaming and she's yelling and she's talking about, "I'm gonna call the police on you." I was like, call them. After I tell them what happened, they're gonna be on the look for your boyfriend. She tells me to get my stuff and get out. I said, say less, so I start packing. I texted a close friend who I had already told about 𝙎𝙧𝙗𝙧 being a creep, and they came to get me. I lived with that friend for 2 years until I turned 18 and moved into my own place. I have an amazing boyfriend who understands my trauma and takes everything slow with me. I no longer have contact with 𝙎𝙧𝙗 or my mom, and now I only see them through social media posts. This is a story about the time I got arrested because I was with my friend when she stole from Kroger. So I was at Kroger looking for snacks with my friend, let's call her Kaylee. Kaylee goes and wanders off somewhere and leaves me in the bread aisle. She didn't tell me where she was going, but about 10 minutes later she came back with a pair of lashes in her hands. She tells me she paid for the lashes up front and to put them in my pocket. I didn't know that she was stealing, so I put them in my pocket. One of the workers saw and called the police. When the police arrived, Kaylee grabs the lashes and tries to make a run for it. So I look after her and I yell, "Justice for Brandon Bernard." Why did I yell that, you may ask? Because this story didn't actually happen. But since you're watching, you might as well finish the video. A somewhat similar situation did happen to a black man named Brandon Bernard who was executed last night at 9:27 p.m. for a crime he did not commit. He was pressed with 2 murder charges for only being an accomplice to a murder. He didn't murder anyone, yet he still got charged with murder. Now Trump could have stopped all of this, but he didn't have enough time to save a black man from being executed. He was too busy tweeting. And this is one of the many tweets that he made while he could have been preventing the execution. So is the world really killing itself? Or will y'all not just stop killing black people? This is the time I found out my mom was cheating on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. And you already know your girl came with the receipts. Let's get into it. So around January last year, me and my boyfriend of 1 year had just broken up. And around that same time, I noticed that my parents' relationship was going down the drain too. I'm an only child. I could see how fake my parents would be around each other. It's honestly like they didn't even try to hide it. So one night I asked to use my mom's phone because I needed to look something up in that very moment and my phone was dead. And obviously I don't just look for what I need. I invade her privacy because if she had free access to my phone, she would have done the same thing. So I'm scrolling through her phone, then I open iMessage. First thing I see is a conversation with my ex-boyfriend. I wasn't surprised that she had his number because I gave it to both of my parents while we were dating just in case of emergencies. So I click on their conversation and this is what I see, child. At the time, I wasn't paying attention to the date. I just assumed that they were old messages from when he would be coming over to see me. But later on, when I caught them together, I threatened to expose him unless he sent me all their messages, which will be posted on my Instagram story. And I found out that those messages were from the day before I caught them together, which happened the next day. Part 2 of the time my mom cheated on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. Receipts included. So like I said, I saw these messages on my mom's phone between her and my ex-boyfriend. Here they are again. I wasn't paying attention to the date, so I thought they were old. Until the next day. So I'm with my friend and I'm in the passenger seat of her car. I open Snapchat and I accidentally click on Snap Maps. I see something weird. It says my ex is at my house. I'm thinking it has to be a glitch because why the fuck is this man at my house? We were somewhat close to my house, so I asked if we could pass my house real fast just to see if he was actually there. We drive past and we see his car in the driveway. And then we see him get out of his car. I'm trying to see what the fuck is up because after those text messages I saw, I don't trust him. I'm on they ass like back pockets. I tell my friend, park behind this big ass tree, girl. We finna watch. So he walks up to the front door. And before he even knocks, before he even rings the doorbell, my mom opens the door, smiling all big and shit. And she opens her arms and hugs him. So she was expecting his arrival. But that was just a little friendly hug, right? You know, nothing too crazy. And they both proceed. This was a team effort to kiss. I pass out. Part 3 gets crazy. Part 3 of the time my mom cheated on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. Receipts included. After I see on Snap Maps that he's at my house, me and my friend drive past my house to see if he was actually there and his car was in the driveway. My mama opens the door for him before he even knocks. Then me and my friend witness them lock lips. At this point my blood is cold. The way I hop out that car faster than you could say home wrecker. So there I am running towards them. Obviously they see me running towards them, eyes wide open, and they start looking at each other. I'm like, hey, don't look at each other, look at me. Look over here. What y'all staring at each other for? So I asked them if I just saw what I just saw. Obviously they try to gaslight me. My friend was there and she saw it, so ain't no fooling me. So I'm screaming at them and I'm going at it. And they're screaming back like they didn't just do what they did. Our neighbor who is a cop hears us arguing and comes outside and tries to defuse the situation. He asks us what's going on. I just tell him that everything's fine and then we go inside. So we go inside and I sit them both down. I'm more curious as to how they even formed this whole entire relationship. So I tell my ex that I won't expose him if he sends me all the messages between him and my mother. Making part 4 right now. Part 4 of the time I found out my mom was cheating on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. So once I caught them, I told my ex-boyfriend that I wouldn't say anything to anyone if he sent me all the messages between him and my mother. There my mom was, still trying to lie about it, still trying to deny it. Like me and my friend did not just see them both trade spit. He ends up agreeing and there my mom is just looking dumb. And she says, if he sends you these messages, you're not allowed to tell your dad. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Obviously, I was still gonna tell my dad. All of those messages are posted on my Instagram story. So I did end up telling my dad and he divorced my mom. Not surprised, it was gonna happen anyways. Their relationship was going down the drain. We both move out and then I stay with my dad until I go to college and get my own dorm. I still talk to my mom every now and then because she was never a bad mom. I never understood and will never understand where this whole thing came from. Just that one incident was traumatizing and uncalled for. Our relationship after that was never the same. It was just always awkward. Last thing I heard about my ex was that he moved to states. This is why boys should cut all connections with their ex when they get a new girl. Please make sure to watch all parts of the story because it all comes together in the end. Let's get into it. Junior year of high school, I started dating this boy whose ex was known to be crazy. She was so crazy that when me and him first started dating, she told everyone that he had taken advantage of her and got her pregnant so I could break up with him and no other girl would ever want to date him. Nobody believed her because she was a compulsive liar and she lied about serious things like that all of the time. And it was proven completely false when months later, she had no baby bump. I took it upon myself to start talking shit about her on my Instagram, as I should. But when she found out that I was talking shit about her, she wanted to fight. I don't fight over boys, so I told her to get over herself. Fast forward a week or two, I'm sitting in my living room and I hear the doorbell ring. I go to open it, but my mom's already at the door. She opens the door. Next thing you know, I see my mom get snatched. So I'm thinking, damn, it must be windy as hell outside. So I go to check to see what happened. And when I get outside, I see my mama getting whooped by 3 grown men. My boyfriend's ex was standing there and laughing. Part 2 of why boys should cut all connections with their ex when they get a new girl. So like I said, I see my mama getting whooped by 3 grown men. And there my boyfriend's ex is standing there watching the whole thing and laughing. Once the men see me, they stop and I run to make sure that my mom is okay. And they start cussing, saying this, that, and the third. I'm telling all of them to go to hell. I'm trying to rush my mom back inside. There was seriously something wrong with her. Her nose was bleeding. She couldn't answer my questions. She was pretty fucked up. And my boyfriend's ex starts yelling and says, this is what you get for getting me a miscarriage. Now this girl was delusional. I did nothing of the sort. Never put a hand on her. This is the first time I would be seeing her in person. I don't even know how she got my address. I don't bother arguing and I get my mom back inside. I hand her a phone and I tell her to call the police. But I also make sure to tell her to make sure to tell the dispatcher that we're gonna need an ambulance. So then I go to my garage. I grab a bat, walk right back outside that door, and I go sicko mode. And this is when it gets crazy. Part 3 of why boys should cut all contact with their ex when they get a new girl. Like I said, my boyfriend's ex had brought 3 grown men to my house and they all jumped my mother. So I grab a fucking bat and I go outside. Now I'm swinging on everybody. I'm talking bopping the head, bopping the nose, bopping your mouth. I'm not giving them the chance. I don't even care if the police come in. Let them arrest me. I do manage to get all 3 grown men on the ground. With my bat, of course. Then the only people left standing is me and my boyfriend's ex. I'm like a bull looking at her ready to charge. but now I was ready to molly up that bitch. She starts running, I run right after her. I am on her ass like wet grass. She tries to get in what I'm assuming was her car or one of the grown men's car. I drag her out that car and I start beating her with my bat. The grown men are off the ground at this point and start running towards me. So then they get close. When I tell y'all I start swinging that bat, I don't even know who I'm hitting. I did end up accidentally breaking their windshield. And then the police show up. This is part 4 of why boys should cut all contact with their ex when they get a new girl. So I'm beating up those 3 grown men and my boyfriend's ex with my bat. I accidentally break their windshield and I don't feel bad about it. And that's when the police show up. No one was recording the incident, so when the police got there, those 3 grown men and my boyfriend's ex tried to lie and say that they were the ones who got attacked. But little did they know we had cameras all around our house and it recorded the whole incident. I tell the police I was beating them for self-defense and that my mom was inside and she was already injured. Later on, we were able to file assault and trespassing charges. But anyways, I ride with my mom in the ambulance. Then I go to text my boyfriend to tell him what happened. I forgot to mention earlier on, I had told my boyfriend multiple times to completely block his ex on all social medias. But he didn't, so she would constantly like all of his photos, constantly DM him, and he told me that he would just ignore her. And so I don't just text him what had happened. I also make sure to break up with him. Because if he had blocked her on all socials and cut contact with her, then his ex would have never known that we were dating, and my mom wouldn't be completely paralyzed on the right side of her face.
One day you come to my open door, and I feel like you can wait no more. You here, buddy, you could have just go, but since you came, what we waiting for? I just running through 1,000 miles. I've imagined it 1,000 times. Let me show you what we got. We found love, we found love, we found love under this. Oh, nada, under the sun. Oh, nada, under the sun, sun, sun. Oh, nada, under the sun. Oh, nada, under the sun, sun, sun. Oh, nada, under the sun. Oh, nada, under the sun, sun, sun. Oh, nada, under the sun. Oh, nada, under the sun, sun, sun. One day you come to my open door, and I feel like you can wait no more. You here, buddy, you could have just go, but since you came, what we waiting for? We're just running through 1,000 miles. I've imagined it 1,000 times. Let me show you what we got. We found love, we found love, we found love under this.
Part 3 of why you should have one loyal friend instead of hanging out with a big group of friends. So I go into the bathroom and there's a window. I'm thinking to myself, I would be so dumb. I would be so extremely incredibly stupid to go back into that room full of grown ass men that I've never met before, instead of making my escape through that window right here, right now. So I trusted my gut and I got the fuck out of there. Mind you, I'm in my PJs right now. No shoes, no socks. I'm making my great escape. Call me Pablo Escobar. While I was doing all of it, I was in disbelief. Like, I cannot believe that I'm escaping like right now. Like, this is actually insane. I did what I believed was right at the moment, and honestly that decision might be the reason why I'm alive right now. So I make a run for it. I immediately run to the front of the neighborhood. I hide behind some trees and then I call my sister. I call my sister instead of my parents because my mom was the one who drove me there, and if she knew that something bad happened, she wouldn't have let me go out again. I'm frantically explaining everything on the phone to my sister. She literally speeds to come get me. When she gets there, I immediately hop in her car and we get the fuck out of there. On our way home, I get a text from Sally. Last part is part 4. I'm making that right now. Part 4 of why you should have one loyal friend instead of having a big group of friends. So I'm on my way home and I get a text from Sally. Hey girl, where are you? We went to the gas station to get some milkshakes. You could have came with, but you were already asleep. I didn't even respond. I just blocked all of them because I know damn well that they were not getting milkshakes. Because one, why didn't they wake me up to get milkshakes? Because I wasn't the first person to fall asleep. I'd never fall asleep first at somebody's house with a big group of people. I saw somebody else who looked like they were sleeping, so I thought that I was going to fall asleep too. Two, why were all those grown ass men there? Nobody told me that they were going to be there. Like I said, we were sophomores. These men were in college. Maybe even graduated from college. They were grown. 3, why would she lie about it being her house? 4, why did the boy say she went home? I remember when I said I kept getting lost because I didn't know the area. Once I went back to look through the messages that I had with those girls to see if there was anything fishy going on, I noticed that they were all sending me different addresses. Either one number would be off or a letter would be off. They definitely were planning something because they were trying to get me there late. I haven't seen or talked to those girls since then. Okay, quick story time since I still have my makeup on. Let me tell you about this old lady that tried to fight me at Walmart. PSA to this old lady, if you're watching this, you could still get slapped any day. I don't like you and I'm willing to fight still. Waiting for you to try it the second time. Anyways, let's get into it. I was at Walmart with my sister because I go everywhere with my sister. We were just looking for hair accessories because you know at Walmart sometimes they have those hidden gem items that you probably never thought would be there, but they're there and it's really cheap. So we go there to look for some cute hair accessories. I would just like to clarify that this old lady was white and I had a blonde wig on. Yeah, this old lady pulls up on us and she's like, one thing about me is I hate when people stare at me. What are you staring at? Do you need help? Yeah, if you want to suck a little pussy, just fight it. Anyways, you know what I mean? Like, it's just mad judgmental. I feel like people are judging me. So I'm like, can I help you? He goes, can I touch your hair? Obviously, I say no because who is this old white lady trying to touch me? Don't know you, don't know where you've been. Like, stay away. 6 feet. I don't know what it is about the people that live around me being so bold. I say no, you cannot touch my hair, and she reaches her old wrinkly hands. Next thing you know, she's tugging on my hair. Part 2 right now. The time an old lady tried to fight me at Walmart, part 2. So I thought that she was just gonna feel my hair. No, she takes her hand and starts tugging. And I'm like, what the fuck is this bitch doing? She's tugging on my hair. I'm like, can you like not fucking touch me? So like I move my head so then she can like let go. And she goes, fake. My sister steps in and she's like, you're not about to touch my sister like that. And you're not about to come up to us as an old white lady and pull our hair so you can see if it's fake or not. She's like, that's the problem these days. You black people don't know how to love yourself. This lady was looking for a fight. I was ready to fight. Something about me and my sister, we do not let nobody disrespect us. If you're old, black, white, short, 4-year-old, we will get on your ass. So we like, hold on. You're not about to walk up to us and disrespect us, our space and our bubble and our privacy. You're not about to come up to us and try to pick an argument with us. Old as she is, I'm surprised she didn't have a heart attack. There was a worker really close by, so they came and was like, okay, what's going on? I was like, before I put this old white lady in her grave, her have an early funeral, you better get her. As she was walking away, she was saying all types of racial slurs. Me and my sister did not give one fuck and went about our day. Period.